Her 4 books and training cover practical business and dining skills, the proper etiquette and protocol to navigate globally in any international climate, and effective activities for making great impressions, boosting problem-solving skills, and improving customer service. Colleen is the co-founder of Global Protocol, Etiquette, and Civility Academy, which provides individuals and companies with the opportunity for further training and certification. Colleen has achieved numerous certifications. She's recognized for her speaking and her leadership skills, and she can be seen and heard regularly on national television and radio. So we are honored to have her here tonight, working with all of us on the skills that we can have to be more professional in the things that we're doing. So with that, I introduce Colleen Rickenbacher.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And good evening, scholars, and good evening to the fellows that are here also. What we're going to do tonight is accomplish a lot of things for the rest of the programs while you're in school, but mostly for your job interviews. And what you need to remember, every single thing that you're doing, you are on 24/7. So that's the most important thing that you have to remember. And as we go through the program tonight, you'll understand what I'm saying. So what we're going to discuss as we're going through all this is the way that you look, meaning your dress, the way that your appearance, and the way that you're judged, the way that you act, the way that you eat. So go ahead and eat everything that you have right now, because we're not going to do the dining section until the end of the program. So eat your grapes, eat your cookies, and then I'll tell you how you should have eaten those grapes, how you should have eaten those cookies, and everything else that you've done. The way you conduct yourself. And what I'm saying is you're 24/7. Yes, you know, you're with your friends right now and with, you know, some of your fellows and your instructors, your teachers, your professors. But you never know when someone's judging you. You never know when someone's watching you. Even though you think you're not on an interview or you're not being judged by somebody, somebody's always there. And it's important. You're there. And so that's the important thing you need to remember. So how you're conducting yourself, your follow through, and I can't say it enough, and yes, I do teach etiquette, obviously protocol and civility, but it's those little things, especially on your job interview. If these two people go in and they're judged, they're exactly the same, the degrees are the same, everything's on an equal, what's that one little thing that's going to separate them, that person's going to get the job? And that's what you need to determine. What's that one little thing? Is it maybe that thank you note that she sent and maybe he didn't send? Or maybe was he dressed in a suit and maybe he wasn't? Or maybe he was doing something that he wasn't. And that's where those differences come in. And that's where the etiquette, the protocol, and the civility will take over and do that. Now, a couple little rules as we're going, and I promise, because I know a couple of you have another class after this. That has to be extremely grueling. I don't know how anybody can go to another class after this, but you do. So we'll get you out of here at 8 o'clock. But as we go through, please ask questions, and if I see we're getting too many questions, I'll hang out here afterwards and you can ask me there. And I also have a book for you that you'll take when you leave here that has my information inside. Email me with any questions that you have. Do not call me, but you can text me or you can email me. My phone is just too crazy. I travel a lot and I'm gone. But email me with questions and just put up the top STEM seminar, and that way I can identify who you are and I'll come back with an answer for you. And it doesn't have to be about this seminar tonight. You can ask me, maybe you're going to get married, or she said if you need a babysitter, maybe, oh, okay, fine. Then maybe, you know, maybe you do have children and you're planning their birthday party. I can help you with those things too. Anything that has anything with etiquette, protocol, or civility, I can help you out. So, any questions so far? Okay, we're ready to go. Now, how you look is basically what counts and how you're going to be perceived. I always say when you go in for an interview, don't dress for that interview. Dress for where you want to be. Don't go in for that interview, but dress. Maybe the interview is for an entry-level position, but down the line you want to be that CEO of that company, that corporation. That's how you want to dress. Dress where you want to go, not where that is right then and there. Keep that in your mind. Just always think about that. Because 5 years from now, if you're still dressing the same way, then you want to stay in that same job. Always dress where you want to go. And it doesn't have to be a Neiman Marcus dress. It's just a neat look, meaning that it has to be pressed, has to be clean, has to fit your body. Remember that. Can't be dragging down here, can't be dragging on the ground. It has to fit your body. It has to look nice on your body. So remember that part. Now, it's your style. Again, you want to be dressed for your style, because what looks good on one person maybe doesn't look on another person, because everybody in this room is a different size, a different shape, a little different age. So again, you have to fit what fits your body exactly. And again, you want to come across with whatever's your image. Everybody in here has a different image, how they want to portray. I'm usually business dress because that's what I preach, that's what I do. But trust me, if you were to see me this morning, I had an interview this morning on a radio at 10:20. I had warm-ups on. I had like a pair of, sweats on. It wasn't that they could see me, but my voice was, I was on a radio voice. So, but if they would have had me like, if they wanted to say, if it would have been TV, it would have been a whole different look. I would have been in a suit. But I still came across exactly what I wanted to do. But if I would have walked out of my house, I would have changed my whole look. But for radio, they can't see you. It wasn't that I was, being televised or whatever. But you still have to have that look when you walk out the door. So that's what's very important. Again, make sure it's appropriate dress. If you're going to go on this April 4th, I believe the date was, and on that invitation, if it says, come business dressed, what are you going to wear? Tell me what you would wear. Gentlemen? Thank you. Ladies, what will you wear? Okay, come business dressed. If you have a question, then you need to be calling them and asking, what do you mean by business dress? Be very clear on that. You don't want to come in a pair of blue jeans. You don't want to come just maybe in a shirt without a coat and a tie. Or ladies, you don't want to come with just maybe a nice, something very casual. Come business dress. Make sure you're clear, because, you want to look the part. If it does say come business casual, then to the gentleman, you do want to wear a nicer pair of slacks and a nice shirt. Again, business casual is not a pair of jeans or a pair of shorts. That's casual. So just kind of remember all those different dresses. That's worth an email to me if you like. There you go. Now, trends. Watch hip and trendy clothes. Again, you're at that age that you can wear trendy clothes. Just make sure your body is hip and trendy to go in those clothes. You got it. Okay, update your wardrobe. You're in college right now. So again, you can wear nice casual clothes when you're going to class every day. But when you transition into that work mode, some of you will go into offices that you can wear casual clothes. There's a difference between casual clothes and sloppy casual clothes. So again, you can possibly wear jeans to your office. Just make sure they're nice jeans, that they're clean, they don't have holes in them, and again, they're not too tight, that they fit in the office and they go appropriately to what the office may be. Because people are looking at that. And you always want to have something of quality. To the gentleman, it would be a nice suit. To the ladies, again, maybe a nice dress. If you don't like wear dresses, then a nice pair of slacks and a nice jacket. You want to have one thing that you can rely on, that you can pull in for quality. Again, does not have to be expensive. Just some different clothes here. The gentleman, I don't know if I have a pointer on here. I don't want to try it. The gentleman on the far left, again, it looks nice. It's not a full suit. A suit, gentlemen, is when it matches. The jacket has to match the slacks. That would be a full suit. And when it's just a different jacket, then it's just a sports jacket. The gentleman in the middle, it's just more of a casual. He just has, your nice little, collar with your, at least it's a collar. And the one on the side, again, it's just a more casual, a little bit dressier, a more of a smart. The woman in the corner, that's your full business. The same as I have on tonight with a full suit. The gentleman in the dead center, there's your business dress with the tie and the jacket. And again, the woman down at the bottom is also in a business suit. So there's your differences there. Now, accessories. We live in Texas, and some of you, this may not be your home, but for the moment it is your home. This is Texas, where there's boots and there's sandals and there's everything else that goes with it. Again, very acceptable, but just make sure that they're clean. They don't come with mud on them and the heels aren't worn down. So yes, you can wear boots to work. It's very acceptable here. You can even wear a cowboy hat if you like. Just take it off when you come inside. And everything is. Ladies, when you go out at night, if it is a dressier evening, go to a smaller purse, just a little bit nicer. That way it doesn't look, like it's a big diaper bag. Just go to a smaller purse for the evening attire. And if you do go to sandals, this goes for men and women, make sure your feet are ready for the public. Simple enough. Okay, ladies, which means they need to be manicured. Gentlemen, they should also be manicured. If you've never tried a pedicure, you should try one once in a while. They're pretty nice. No, gentlemen, you don't have to have them polished, but they still, before they come out of those shoes, they do need to look nice. So if they don't, keep them inside the shoes. Don't wear any sandals. Yes?
What about socks and sandals?
Oh, okay. Good question. Now, very good question. In the United States, never socks and sandals. Never. Very cool in Europe, but not in the United States. I travel all the time, and whenever I'm on a plane, I just kind of keep my head down. I shouldn't, because people hit me with, their luggage all the time, and I'm always dodging it. But I judge people by their shoes. I have all kinds of stories about airports. I could spend an hour about that, but we won't go there. Vegas is the best place to go and watch people in airports, but we'll take DFW for the moment. I'll keep my head down, and as I watch people go by with the shoes that they wear when they travel, it's amazing. And I will see, as soon as I see a man come on with socks and sandals, I have to pick my head up and see who it is. Because if you're going to have an open-toed shoe on, then you should not have, for a woman, should not have nylons on. I know ladies, you probably say nylons, ugh, but sometimes you should wear them, you should. And then for a man, no socks. Okay? Acceptable in some countries, but not in the United States. Okay? Any other questions? Now you're going to be afraid to ask me questions. So, ask me. Go ahead. We're being taped, but that's okay. So, yes, ma'am.
What if you're not comfortable with heels? Is that a requirement for women?
If you're not comfortable with heels, what was the second part?
Is that sort of requires women to wear?
No, she asked the question, what if you're not comfortable in heels? Sometimes you may need to have like a little bit of a heel, but if not, then your flat needs to be dressy. If you're going to wear like a ballet slipper or a nice flat shoe, sometimes, it is nicer to have that little bit of heel, but some people just can't wear a heel for whatever, maybe for health reasons, or they just don't like heels. And so, no, they don't have to be a heel. But if it is a flat, then make it a dressy flat. Make it a pretty dressy flat. And if you are going to wear a sandal for a dressy occasion, then make it a dressy sandal. Going back to dressy, never rubber. Got that? A sandal for work is never rubber. We're talking flip-flops, so that's never acceptable for a job. And even if it's a casual, it's still, there's a difference between work and going to the beach. There's a big difference there. So make them a nice sandal. So no, if you don't like heels, it's not comfortable, just make it a very nice flat, a very dressy flat. And they're out there now. Okay? The other thing is, too, you can go the opposite way. You can go too high in a heel. They're great if you're going out to party and dance, but, at work they should be, a nice 2 inches, a nice high. That's as high as you should go for work. Now, to the gentlemen, because everybody always says when you talk dress, it's always for women. This is for the gentlemen. Gentlemen, one thing that I will stress, make sure for business that your belt matches your shoes. Got it? So if you're going to have a black belt on, then your shoes need to be black. Okay, everybody's kind of looking back and forth. Yes. So if you get confused and buy one of those belts that you can reverse that are brown or black, that way if you get confused, you can just flip it back and forth. So make sure that. When you wear a tie, a couple of you have a tie on, where should your tie hit? Where should the bottom of the tie hit? Top of your collar, but where should the bottom be? Exactly. Make it hit the bottom, or I'm sorry, not the bottom, but the middle of your belt. So it should come right down that it's touching your belt. You don't want it to be too far down, and you definitely don't want it up here. Actually, there was a time when it was cool and fashionable for a brief period of time to be up here, but the people that were wearing up here really didn't realize that was cool and fashionable. They were just way too short for them. So, but they actually should hit the middle of your belt. Now, when you sit down to have lunch, never take that tie and flip it over your shoulder. I don't care where you are, I will appear. I will be there. I will just show up. Poof, I will be there. And I will take that tie so fast and flip it back over that shoulder, you'll never know what happened. Same way goes for the ladies. If you have a big scarf on, you can't take it and flip it over your shoulder. It just has to stay there. And it's cool. It's back in style to wear the tie pins, or you can actually have a tie clip here. and you can wear that, and it kind of keeps there. So when you go to eat, if your tie's there, you can actually lean in and lean back, lean in and lean back. But the tie cannot go any other place other than right there. Also, gentlemen, like what he is on, that's gorgeous. Would you stand up and turn around and show everybody? I mean, look how nice he's dressed. Let me show you. He does. I mean, he looks nice. Let me show you something else. He has 2 buttons on his jacket. Okay, as you saw when he stood up, he only has 1 button, which is absolutely correct. If he had 3 buttons, only the top 2 buttons would be buttoned. Never are you going to button all 3 buttons. But as you see, I have 3 buttons on my jacket. For a woman, it's totally different. If I want to button all 3, I can. If I want to button only the middle one, I can. A woman, it doesn't matter how many I have buttoned on here. But for a man, if he has 2 buttons, only your top button. For a man, if he buttons all 2 or 3, he looks like a burrito. So don't do that, okay? I mean, he's a nice, thin man, so that's not going to happen. But when he sits down, he actually could unbutton that, okay? When he sits down, he should unbutton it. But if he's just going to stand up for a second, to shake hands or to meet somebody, he's not going to button. He's not going to go back and forth. But when he sits down, then he can unbutton and be very relaxed. And so very, very nice. And he has a tie. The point is, his tie is very well coordinated with the shirt and his suit. You don't want your tie to walk in 300 feet before you do, okay? Keep it all nicely coordinated as he did. So very nice. Very, very, very nice. Okay, hats. When you come into a room, your hat comes off. Just kind of remember that, okay? Ladies, I hate to tell you, that goes for you also, if it's a baseball cap. If you come in and you're going to church and you have this nice big hat on, that's different because your hat was coordinated to your outfit. So if I would come in with a big black hat on or maybe a teal colored and I'm going to church or the Kentucky Derby, my hat would stay on. But if I'm going, just to go, and it's very annoying when you go into like a concert or something where there's people or a play and there's people sitting behind you and the whole time they're trying to go around you and see behind you. So just kind of consider that. But when you come in, gentlemen, your hat should come off, especially a church, a restaurant, someone's home. You should take the hats off. So just kind of remember that always. And shoes, back to the shoes again. Your shoes always have to be clean. They have to be neat and clean because when you go in, especially for an interview, they will go the whole way down and see what you have on. So they need to be clean. You don't have to make them spick and span that they're shiny and they have to be like you're in the military. But every day I will get up when I put my shoes on, I shine my shoes. I spend a couple dollars, $1.98, whatever it may be, and I shine my shoes every single day. Now, if you travel at all, like I do, if you travel, and sometimes an amenity, they'll give you like shampoo or soap or something like that. Don't take those things. Don't take those. But sometimes they'll give you like little buffers in your room. Take those. Take those a lot. And if you're even walking down the hallway and you see a housekeeping cart, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm only kidding. It's entered my mind a couple times just like scoop them all up and take them, but don't do that. Don't bother. But anyway, just buff your shoes every day. Have a black one and a brown one or whatever your shoes may wear. And then your shoes kind of like finish you off. Don't get down to the bottom and then don't have that nice shine look at the bottom. Now, your socks. Would you mind like crossing your leg over your ankle over your knee? Yeah, exactly. When you go in for an interview, it's kind of hard with these chairs like this, and excuse me for playing with you here a little bit. Okay, when you come in, I never want to see skin. Excuse me? I hope you're a little, okay? I don't want to see this. None of this, okay? So, okay, now you can cover back down again. Okay, so meaning either your socks need to be a little bit longer or your slacks need to be long, one way or the other. So when you go to put your leg up and cross your leg like so, then I don't want to see any skin, no skin whatsoever. So gentlemen, make sure your slacks are long enough or your socks. I'm not saying put your socks up to your knees, but make sure, he's pulling his socks up over here, so sorry about that. Yeah. So just make sure that everything, or just keep your feet planted on the ground. Internationally, the sole of your foot is the dirtiest part of your body. So sometimes you never want to, it's just like you're showing disrespect for them in other cultures. So sometimes you just want to keep your feet on the ground. And women, the same thing. You would just keep your feet down instead of crossing your legs. Because at some point, the sole of your foot's going to come across to cross your legs. So, but internationally on that. Socks. when you go on an interview, gentlemen, yes, you will wear socks, so please do that. And so, but again, you want to make sure the flow is going the whole way down. Yes, ma'am.
I read an article, a business article that said you should have socks that are just a little bit imaginative, maybe just a little cute, just to show that you have some imagination and aren't some fuddy-duddy.
You can. It's when you don't want them to take away. I mean, I've seen some socks that are like beyond imaginative. They're like too much. And, depends on something too you have to remember. Different, people say, well, there's different cultures and a different diversity with the different parts of the world. They're that way in the United States. What someone does in Pittsburgh, they're going to do different in Tampa, and they're going to do different in Dallas, they're going to do different in California. You can almost tell where people are from other than their accents or whatever, just the way they dress. And some people will come into an interview with red socks on because they probably read the same article. And, which is great. That does show their individualism and there shows, their creative. And I think if you can pull it off, some people can, some people can't. And I think it's fun. It is fun. But I think, I'm looking, because I'm trying to think, and right behind me has a nice tie and a shirt on. And so I think you have to feel good in it. And if it gives you that edge, then go for it. But you have to feel good in what you have on when you walk in that interview. Plus, the other thing is, too, you have to think about the company. I have a contract with ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil is still very white and black. I walked into lunch in there when I first started, and the men still all had white shirts on. And I thought, oh my gosh, I thought this was like, and some of you are still way too young, but I thought it was like an IBM happening again. And I thought, can't someone wear like a light blue shirt or something? For them to have an interview with someone with red socks on, it wouldn't fit their norm. But to go into, and I've also taught Microsoft, for them to come in with someone with a pair of slacks on would not fit their norm. When I walked in there, they had like cutoffs on. But that's why I was teaching there. And so, that was the difference. And so, it depends on, where you're going and what the job is. But I think it's fun when you can, and maybe that's where the tie would be a little bit more fun and funky. But you just have to kind of, watch where it is. Yes, sir.
So I have some dress socks that have all my favorite Marvel characters on there. Can I wear those?
You might want to watch. That might be a little too creative. So maybe that might be your second or third interview. So what he said, he had all of his Marvel. Okay. You just need to watch where you're going for the interview. My suggestion is on that first interview. I don't care if you're interviewing at McDonald's or an ExxonMobil, you come in a suit. You come in a nice outfit. You come whatever it is because you want your best foot forward is what you're going to come in. And that's how you want to look. If they say to you, oh, come back and dress more casual, look and see what that person has on, and then you come back dressed, similar to what they have on. And I think that's the best recommendation. Okay? So, the stretch and pull. My suggestion on the stretch and pull, this is just to make you look a little bit nicer. When you get dressed in the morning, this is for men and women, and you put a shirt on, or you put a blouse on, or you put anything you're going to tuck in, put your thumbs in your waistband and stretch it out. Don't just stick on things, in the morning when you're getting dressed. Put your clothes on and stretch it out. Don't have all this material stuck right here that you got all this in here. But don't stretch it out so much that then you got this wad of material on both sides of your body. Stretch it. It gives you a flatter look here, and you're going to look nice. You should all feel bad for my husband. So, because everyone was like, oh, okay, we should maybe wear something else. But, he looks good. He looks good. Any questions, gentlemen, on the clothes? Okie doke. Now, again, the whole point is how do you want to be perceived? What do you want people to think about you? And it's a shame that in 3 seconds, people will make a decision on you. Back to my airport, because I do sit in airports so much, I watch people go by me. Because I'm sitting there, I'm an anal person that has to get to an airport early. When people walk by me, I judge them. I give them a name. I give them a job. I give them a salary. I give them everything. Well, what else you can do in an airport other than check your messages? But I just do all that as they're going by me. So if and when you do travel, unless some of you travel now, when you go to the airport, dress nice. I'm not saying go in your suit and go in a business suit like that, but look nice. Because when you meet that person that's maybe sitting next to you or sitting on the plane, and they said, oh, what are your plans? I'm a STEM scholar. and explain to me what a STEM scholar is. You don't know who that person is going to be that's sitting next to you in that plane. They may all of a sudden have a job. I've gotten more jobs in an airplane than you can possibly imagine, because I come very nicely dressed, I have my business card ready to go, I carry my books with me, I make more business deals on a plane. I honestly don't think they would consider if I weren't dressed appropriately to carry on that conversation. So think about that. That's one of your 24/7. That's, you're always on. So when they say, and you can say, I'm a STEM scholar and I've graduated from this, or I'm in school now, you never know who you're going to sit next to or who you're going to be. But if all of a sudden you're there and you didn't even comb your hair and you had a bad night the night before and you look that way, they won't consider it. So just think about that when you're traveling or even sitting on the DART rail or wherever you may be. You have to think about these things. It could be an opportunity you might have missed. So, where do you want to go? Asked if not sure. If anything, Dallas has more shopping per capita than any place in the world. Think about that. And so that's the true statement. So if you need someone to help you shop, go to Nordstrom's. Go someplace. You don't have to buy it, but they can show you how to shop. I mean, it's all over the city. And so someone can help you with all of that. Now, just remember the twos. The twos are for the ladies. Not too tight, not too short, not too low, and not too high. So it's the opposite of asking if you can wear flats. And again, remember your age, remember your dimensions, your style, your perception, and your brand, and you'll look great. Okay? Now, working the rooms, tips to move around gracefully. And this, for some people, believe it or not, can be devastating. Some people actually hate to walk into a room because maybe it's a new environment, maybe they don't know the people in there, they hate to walk up to people. Some people it's a breeze, but other people it's like I'd rather pull all my teeth out than go in and face all these people in there. Now, your entrance. What I mean by your entrance is make sure you're together. Make sure your dress is appropriate, your hair is fixed, your shoes are shined, everything's there. You're not walking in at the last moment. And it's grueling here in Dallas because the traffic can hold you up. I mean, maybe you're getting off of your job or you just got out of another class. There's 10,000 reasons why you could be late for something. But if a reception starts at 6:30, give it your best shot to be there like at 6:30. Between 6:30 and 6:45 for a reception. You always want to get there within that 15 minutes of when it's going to start. Because if the CEO or the chancellor or the chairman of the board is going to be there, trust me, they're there in the beginning and then they're gone. So if you want to meet that chancellor or the CEO or the chairman of the board, you got to be there in the beginning. Because if you want to be fashionably late and arrive at 7 o'clock, they're probably already gone by then. Or there's already a line of people to meet them. So you want to get there in the beginning so you can meet them and do all that. Don't come with like your resume. Just come with a business card, which I hope you all have a business card. Come with a business card and go up and meet them and maybe give them a business card or just go up and meet them. And then the next day you follow up with a nice little thank you note. It was a pleasure to meet you yesterday or last evening at the STEM seminar, at the STEM whatever, or at the Dallas County Community College, whatever it was. Follow up, because I hate to say it, they're not going to remember you of the 135 people that they met at that reception. They will remember you by writing that thank you note to them the next day and putting your business card inside there. Just little things like that. That's where the difference comes in. Arriving and departing, again, you don't have to be the first person there, and definitely don't be the first person there and the last person to go, and then eating all the food in the process and drinking everything there. They remember that too. Now, if this were a stand-up reception and they had a lot of drinks and a lot of food and everything, when you go into those types of environments, where do you go first? Be honest. Thank you. You're very honest. So, yes, you do. People go to the bar first because it's an easy, friendly environment. They go to the food second, and then they go to their friends third. Don't do any of that. Go to that host or hostess, thank them for inviting you, and then go away. Go away. Don't spend all the night with them because they got a lot of other people to hello and, all that. Go up and thank them, shake their hand, and then introduce yourself and be gone because that's all they have time for. And then go and try to meet somebody and say, may I get you a drink? Chances are they're free, but just go up and offer them that. And then you can talk to them for a while, or would you like to have some food? And then you can do all that. but just don't hover around the bar and the food all night long. Just kind of move around and meet everybody. The best group to approach are small groups. If you see a person by themselves, go talk to them. Or maybe 2 people together, go talk to them. Don't go where there's 5 or 6 people. You'll never get into that conversation. It's too hard because they're talking or they're even talking within themselves. You'll never break into that group. And then you'll stand there and you're thinking, please, please, please turn around, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, somebody talk to me. And then it's embarrassing and you have to walk away. And then you think, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this, I'm going home. And then it's done, your evening's done. So, not a good night. Now, again, sometime when you do get into your job, the boss will make you go someplace, but have a good attitude when you go, because if not, it shows all over you that I'm here, I don't want to be here, why am I here, how much longer do I have to be here, and that's it. So you got to make something good out of it. Don't go in with like 2 people from the same office and hang out with the same person all night long. Separate and go meet new people. It's amazing what you can learn if you separate and then to come back and talk about it. I mean, talk about the good and the bad, but at least go and learn new things the whole way, you know, before that. Before you go to something, do your homework. Who's going to be there? Who do you want to meet that night? What companies are going to be there? What different people are going to be there? What can you accomplish in that night as opposed to just going, eating, and drinking and leaving? So find out, what can you do that night? What can you accomplish? How many people can you meet? And what can you get out of it? What new jobs, what new opportunities can be there? It's amazing what you can do. Why are you there? Who paid for you to be there? Are you going to get your money's worth out of it? Did it come out of your own pocket, or did your company pay for you to be there? So you got to give back. You got to get something on the reason why you were there, which is very important. Now, these are my 3 challenges. It's very difficult. When I usually go to reception, I basically never eat or drink. I don't, because I want to go around and talk to someone, because it's usually every time I put something in my mouth, someone will walk up to me, and then I can't talk to them. And I'm going, I'm motioning, like, don't talk to me now. I got something in my mouth. So it doesn't. And I'm always worried something's going to spill on me, or I'm, whatever. And it's very difficult to balance as you're doing this. And you can do it. It's hard to balance a napkin, a plate, and a drink, okay? And then you're talking. This is really hard to do all 3. Never, I don't care if you're right-handed or not, never, ever, ever carry a glass in your right hand, because a glass sometimes will sweat. And so if someone comes up to you to shake your hand, it's in your right hand. So now you got to switch it to your left hand. Now your hand's wet from all this. Now you're running it down your pant leg, and now that looked really good what you just did. So don't do that. Carry it in your left hand. If there's a stem, always carry it by the stem. Etiquette says 2 fingers in the front, 3 behind. We're not going to worry about that, but if you want the etiquette side of it. So always carry it by the stem. So now you got your glass in your hand, you got a plate in your hand, and hopefully you have a napkin in your hand. So now you go to take a drink, now you've spilled everything here, or you're eating, you're good, and now someone again comes up, now you got all this grease on your hand, now you're shaking greasy hands. So there's a lot of problems with it. So you can do it, but it's still. So what I do is I wait for the evening to kind of go on, and then I see somebody that I want, and then I say, would you like to have something to eat? And he says, oh, sure. So we go get something, and I take him to like a corner table, and I can, eat and drink and talk to him over there after the evening's kind of gone on for a while, and that works for me. Or I stop at McDonald's and get a McFlurry, and then I'm not hungry, and then I'm good for the rest of the evening. So that's how I usually handle it. Now, drinking. When you do get a job, or some of you probably have jobs now, make sure you understand your policy in your office, because a lot of offices will say no more than 2 drinks at an evening event or none during the day. Then you can say, well, I can drink more than 2 drinks. Well, maybe you can, maybe you can't, but just do what the company policy is. And make sure that sometimes it's better not to drink at all, because you have to see these people again. And sometimes if it is that your company paid for you to be there, then you need to be able to tell the company what you just did the night before. And there's a lot of things, it's not worth that extra drink to jeopardize a job or jeopardize your situation. So it's better, I just don't drink there, and so it's just better that way. So you have to think about all those different things. And again, people say, oh my gosh, here they come, that's all they do is eat and drink, so it's not a good reputation to have. So just be very careful with all that. Again, stay in control, and it's easy just to say, no, thank you, I'm fine. But, you know, you might want to have a glass, you know, that way people keep saying, would you like something to drink? Would you like something to drink? Just have a glass in your hand. And it could be water, and they could think it's, you know, vodka or something, I don't know. So, and then the last thing is the conversation. Always have something to talk about. Right now, the Olympics are going on. I mean, you could talk about the Olympics forever. And so, you know, there's different topics. Always have at least 10 conversations ready to go. Don't talk politics, don't talk religion, and don't ask personal questions. Stay away from those three, and you'll be fine with all of that. Now, again, mingle, chit-chat, and be seen. That's important. Don't just stay in a corner. Don't just stay with your friends, but work the room. Work it really, really well, and go around from there. Spread out and meet. Now, what I mean by group, table, and meal. The group. Say that he walks up to me, and he comes up to me, and he'll say, you know, oh, so good to see you. Tell me your first name.
Avery.
Avery. So Avery comes up to me. And Avery comes up and he'll say, oh, so good to see you. How you doing? I said, oh, Avery, it's so good to see you. But I'm standing with all these people here, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to introduce Avery when I can't remember his name? And I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? I just can't say, you know, I'm not going to introduce everybody. But I can't say, well, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. Oh, forget him. And this is so-and-so. I can't do that, you know, and I'm thinking, and it's racking my brains out trying to remember what this guy's name is. So what I'm going to do is say, well, this is Avery. Avery and I met, you know, like a year ago, and Avery does this, this, and I'm telling all about it. Would you mind going around and introducing yourself to Avery? And that solves the problem. So when it gets to him, he says his name, and then all of a sudden I remember it, and then I'll say his name 10,000 more times because he just said it, and it's good. The second part is the table. Whenever you go into a luncheon or a meal function or anything, and there's like maybe 8 people at the table or 6 people at the table or 10 people at the table, it doesn't matter, or even 4, before you sit down, this is that one of these differences, it'll make a difference with you. Before you sit down, walk around that table and shake hands and introduce yourself to everybody at the table. If you know them already, then give them a hug or whatever you want to do, or pat them on the back. But do not sit down until you've acknowledged every single person at that table. That's a professional acknowledgement, and it makes all the difference between you and every other person at that table. And every time I do that, people say, oh, I always want to do that. I'm thinking to myself, well, you've seen me do this 10,000 times. Why aren't you doing that then? But don't just sit down and wave, like, oh, hi, how you doing? How you doing? Don't do that. Walk around and, you know, pat them on the back or shake hands or hug them or whatever it is, but don't just sit down and wave. It makes a big difference, a big, big, big difference. I do it anyway. Now, if it's like 20 people long, I'm not going to do that. I'll just do within my area, like 6 to 8 people within my area. The reason why is because, like, mine is usually an 8 top or a 10 top or 8 people, you know, there. And that way, I'm going to sit with them for like an hour and a half. And at the end, they've gone, you know, they're gone. And I maybe missed that opportunity to talk to her. And that could have been a lead for me. That could have been a future speech or whatever it is. Or for you, that could be a future, you know, job or future something. And, you know, at the end, she might walk up and say, oh, you know, can I get your card or something or other. If I just waved or I didn't do anything, I lost that opportunity. Just that second makes a big difference. Now, if it's a long, like long rectangular table and there's 20, 30 people there, I'm not going to do that. But I will, within that little area where I am, I sure will do that within those 4 or 6 people right there. And it makes a difference. But then again, you have to be on time, because if you're in late and they've already started serving and the speaker's already up, then you've lost the whole opportunity. Yes, ma'am.
If someone walks up to you and you don't remember who they are, and they seem to know who you are?
It happens to me all the time, because I'm at a disadvantage because I'm a speaker, and they're saying, oh, I saw you at so-and-so. I don't even remember where I was, let alone what their name is. So, you know, I've got I immediately say, I am so sorry, you know, please tell me your name again. I remember seeing you, but please tell me your name. And they do it. I make it a habit when I converse. I say, oh, I'm Colleen Rickenbacher. So good to see you again. I say my name right away. Or I say Colleen, because it's an advantage having advantage and disadvantage. I have 2 strange names. You know, Colleen, there aren't too many Colleens around, definitely not too many Rickenbachers around. So I just say Colleen, and it helps them. And they say, oh, I know, you know, or, you know, and if they don't even know, they say that. And so, you know, they do. And so I give them a helping hand. My husband and I have this little thing we do. If I'm going to a function with him, Steve, his name is Steve, and Steve just doesn't remember anybody's name. And if someone's coming towards him, and he moves. I don't know why. He just starts moving. I don't know if he gets nervous or whatever. And this guy's coming toward me and says, Steve, how you doing? He'll go, this is my wife. You know, I have no name whatsoever. This is my wife. So I know I'm supposed to put out my hand and say, hi, I'm Colleen. How are you doing? And he'll say, I'm great. How are you? No name. He just said no name. I say, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. And then he'll say, oh, I'm Bob or Sam or whatever he says his name in. And Steve will go, Bob, how you doing? You know, Sam, how you doing? You know, like, you know, he's not short of hugging him, you know, so, you know, it works. The other thing you can do, you can say, if you can't remember their name, well, this is my associate, or this is my coworker, or this is my partner. That's how you know, don't this is my wife, you know, don't. He could be a little bit better. I tell him that all the time, but it doesn't matter. So that's how you can get into it. And then your associate or coworker or partner can say, you know, same thing I did, and it works out that way. Or just be honest, say, I'm so sorry, I didn't catch your name. And I have a couple things up here, I'm gonna help you out with that too. But it's a good question. I'm caught with that all the time. People say, oh, I met you. Now, if you see this person every week and you can't remember their name, you got a problem. You know, that's, you might want to wear a name badge or something, you know, or have them wear name badges, so. Okay, now, exit and thank you. Now, if someone walks up to you and you happen to be standing by yourself, then that's a problem, because if they come up, we'll go back to Avery again. If Avery comes up to me, and Avery sees that I'm standing by myself, but he's by himself also. So Avery's going to stick with me because he has no other place to go. So he's going to stick with me, and he found someone, you know, who's there. And so, but that's great, but I want to go meet like these two people up here. So Avery's, you know, here. And so all of a sudden, I want to get rid of Avery. No offense, but I do want to get rid of him. He might have his socks on, so I want to get rid of him. So, but Avery's there, and Avery, it was such a pleasure to meet you. I'm going to go get something to drink. So Avery says, I'm thirsty, I'll go with you. So now I still have Avery. Should have never said that. So Avery's now having a drink with me. And so Avery's, so good to see you, good to meet you. I'm gonna go grab something to eat. Avery's hungry. So Avery says, well, I'm gonna come with you. I still have Avery. So now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I see Garrett way at the opposite side of the room. So I say, Avery, I know somebody that you need to meet. I think you and Garrett have so much. So I take Avery the whole way up. He's waving. Look, he's waving at you. He's already waving at you. See? So I take Avery the whole way up to Garrett, and I introduce him. But I say, Garrett, I just met someone this evening, and I think you have so much in common. This is Avery, and I give a little spiel about what Avery does. And I say, Garrett, I've worked with Garrett, you know, on these programs. He knows all this, you know, all this stuff. I give them something they have in common. And I say, Garrett, a pleasure to meet you. And I say, Avery, a pleasure to meet you. Sorry about that. And Garrett, so good to see you again. Boom, I'm gone. And I've ditched Avery, no offense. Now, he calls me the next morning and says, why did you give me Avery? He was with me all night, you know. But if he's smart, he'd have pawned him off onto somebody else. And then they'd have kept on going. Now, Avery walks away thinking, oh, my God, I love this organization. I met so many people. But in the meantime, they're just, you know. So I do it all the time, and it works beautifully. So that's how you get, no offense. I'm so sorry. Okay, thank you. You should have never told me your name. So, I mean, it works. You have to move on. You can't just stay with the same person all night. But then if Garrett would have passed him on, then he would have met like 2 or 3 or 4 people throughout the night, and he would have never known the difference. He just thought it was a great organization. So now, turn to the person around you, beside you, whatever, and shake their hand, please. Okay. Oh, sorry. Thank you, sir. Okay, other than these 2 people right here and 1 person way in the back, the rest of you stunk. What did you do wrong? Thank you. Thank you. Do it one more time. Tell me your name.
Michael.
Michael, stay up here, Michael. Okay. Now, you cannot imagine the difference when you stand up to shake someone's hand that you have by sitting down. It makes all the difference in the world. All these studies have been done, proven that when you stand up, it puts you on an equal balance with that person. When Michael said, I want to shake your hand, no offense, but he did not stand up. He stayed seated when he asked me to shake his hand, and I came up to him and I shook his hand. If I wanted to accomplish something, I would have won out in that conversation. So if I wanted a job, if I wanted a raise, if I wanted to get something I wanted, I would have won out. But if Michael would have stood up when he asked me to do that, we'd have been on an equal balance, and it's been proven. So if you want something, when I'm at my luncheons or my whatever, I come in so fast on people that I usually don't give them the advantage to stand up because I know what I'm doing. But some people now have learned all this, so now they stand up so fast they almost knock me backwards when they're doing it. So, but it just puts you, it doesn't matter your height. It doesn't matter if you're 6'5" and I'm not. You're still on an equal balance. So always stand up. The other thing is called a bottoms up, meaning if you're seated, you still give them a bottoms up. Get your bottom up off that chair is what it is all you're doing. And then people say, oh, no, stay seated, stay seated. No, stay down. If they're only doing a real quick hello, 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 then you can go back down again. But if they're going to talk to you, say, oh, no, that's okay. And you stand up that whole way and move away from that chair and then have your conversation. Now, I'm going to show you a correct handshake with Michael. Take your hands out of your pocket. Okay, there you go. Never, gentlemen, put your hands in your pocket. Don't ever, when you're walking, talking, giving a speech or anything, keep your hands out of your pocket. Way long time ago, etiquette goes back thousands of years, literally. If you put your hands in your pocket, that means you're hiding something, okay? So, they want to see your hands. Someone just said it. That is the exact answer, which is another reason why when we eat, when we get to the eating part, your hands, which is very continental, your hands should stay above the table because long time ago, we all used to eat that way, even before we were in the United States, because if not, you were down under the table ready to grab a sword, thank you, someone's saying it, or a gun or whatever, because then you weren't coming in peace, you were coming actually to kill them. And so that's why we ate. I'm sorry?
Coming with a piece.
Yeah. Oh, God, I never thought about that. I might have to use that. Okay. So, good point. So that's why. And now we're trying to get people to eat, again, continental, because when they're eating, they're texting under the table with one hand. So now protocol is trying to get people to go back to eating with the continental so they don't have their hand texting. Well, some people don't even.
I got one of these, right? And they can't one hand.
Let me have you sit down in a minute. No. Okay, back to the handshakes. When you shake someone's hand, I want you to turn completely towards that person. So you're shoulder to shoulder, feet to feet, eyes to eyes, heart to heart. That's a lot to think about. It's going to happen like in a split second. Okay? So you're looking straight at this person. So when he says his name is Michael or Avery or whatever it may be, you might remember that. Because people say, what did he say his name was? It just whoosh, goes right over your head. Some people's names are kind of hard to, so just say, could you say that one more time to me? And then say it back to them. That way you might get their name correct. Now, in the United States, we stand about 2.5 feet apart from each other, across from each other. Some cultures, they will go right up to them. He never even moved. Michael didn't go anywhere. What I was going to say is don't walk away from them. Well, he didn't go anywhere to walk away from me because then that person will just keep walking towards you and Michael's not going anywhere. So.
Dude.
So because they'll walk the whole way up to that wall. Some cultures will maybe shake your hand but also walk away from you. More Asian cultures because they like their distance. So don't, again, come close to them. They like that distance. We're in the United States for the moment. 2.5 feet across, okay? Now, what I want you to remember is, don't shake hands this way, but I want you to remember is, I want you to go web to web, meaning come the whole way in to shake someone's hand, that you're touching their web to your web. How many times should we shake? How many shakes should you have? 3. 2 to 3. 2 to 3 is enough. But if he would keep shaking and shaking and shaking, then I would say, Michael, tell me what year you are in college now. Tell me, because then I'd be dancing after a while. But if he keeps if he keeps shaking, then I would ask him something that's not a yes or no question, because he may not let go, but he may release just a little bit. Then I let go real fast, and we'd be done. Now, if he would give me a double shake, meaning put your other hand up on top. Some people, there. Some people give you a double shake. If they give a double shake, they're in there forever. These are more your Latin American countries where they touch. You don't have to touch back. But if they do give it up, you don't want to keep building up, because then they're going to, yeah. You're a cutie. So, which is the same thing. If someone comes in to hug you, hug them. People say, oh, I don't like to hug. It's over in a second. In the United States, we go right cheek to right cheek. In other cultures, most of them will go left cheek first, because they want to touch your heart before, I know, isn't that that's why they'll come in left. But some cultures will go 2 times. So they will go left, or they'll go left and then they'll go right. Some cultures, like the Netherlands, will actually go 3 times. Some cultures go 4. Some will kiss on the nose and some will kiss on the forehead. So before you go all different directions. I'm taking you on the road with me. So
That's my first gig.
Yeah. You're not getting any money for it, though. Just stand still. Let them go around you, because then you knock off his glasses. Everything would be a mess. So just stand still. Now, should he shake my hand? We're in an interview. Think about that.
Yes. Do it for the job.
I'm not sick. I have allergies, but I'm not sick. Yes. The reason why is as a human being, you will wash your hands, hopefully, 22 to 33 times a day. You doubt me? Start counting tomorrow morning, and you'd be amazed how many times. If any of you have children in this room or nieces, nephews, you will do it before 10 o'clock in the morning that many times. Hopefully with soap. Hopefully you're using soap, but you will wash your hands. So you are cleaner as a human than doors, these places where you're sitting, definitely, grocery stores, whatever. But carry hand sanitizers is what I recommend. So yes, he would shake that person's hand. But don't whoop out, you don't have to. Don't whoop out that hand sanitizer right after you shake that hand. Like, don't be sterilizing. Let that person walk away and then sterilize. The same way if someone has a sweaty hand, don't shake their hand and then start running it down your leg or sanitize again. Just hopefully, let them walk away. And then if you're the person who has a sweaty hand, carry a tissue or a hanky in your pocket, try to absorb it that way, and then unfortunately, then shake someone's hand with it that way. Thank you. All that I just said is up there. So again, very important as a first impression. Now, the other thing is, what I want to do is, these are all, as you can see, they're all bad. All these pictures are bad. There is a double handshake. The guy in the middle is patting the woman there. The guy on the end over here on my right is not standing up. This one, I have no idea what kind of handshake this is over here. I mean, it's kind of wimpy. She's not standing up. This guy's crossing his leg. They're both sitting down, double handshake. This guy down here is so wimpy, I have no idea what he's doing. And the same way with they're doing all kinds of crazy things. Just for a professional interview, stand up, look at the person in the eye, good firm handshake, 2 to 3 shakes, and call them by name, and you got it. Okay? Yes, sir.
So what if the person is well, for example, the middle left one right? What if they're doing something you don't like? Are you not supposed to copy that to kind of
No, just yeah, you're crazy, yeah. Just stick to your professional. I mean, if you want to go something bad, but don't follow it. Just smile. Yes.
I went to a new doctor the other day, and I reached for his hand, and he told me he doesn't shake hands. It's a cultural thing with women.
Yes.
What do you do in that situation to still show acknowledgement?
Just nod. Just nod. Like I said, fortunately I get to travel a lot, and if I know I'm in a culture where the gentleman will not touch a woman, then it's hard for me, because that's your first impulse, is to shake their hand. You know, in a case like that, when you're in a different culture, you know that. But in a case where it's a doctor, you would think so. But as a woman, if you are in a different culture, then just keep your hands at your side. And then if the man extends their hand, then by all means shake it. But if they don't, then just nod back. And sometimes even a woman in that culture, I mean, they might end up hugging you, but if not, wait for them to extend their hand. You might be in another culture also where they may bow. They may bow, they may bow. But they may give you the Western handshake first, and then they will follow with one of the bows. Whatever they do, then you just follow right after them and do the same exact thing. You know, and if it's a bow, you know, they're always saying you should go lower. Just follow whatever they do. And just, you know, wherever their hands are, just follow and do exactly what they're doing. Yes, ma'am.
I remember hearing that it's etiquette if a man and a woman are meeting for the first time, that the woman should extend her hand first. Is that still true?
No. If she said, and it used to be, what she said is that the etiquette is that a woman should extend her hand first. No. And I'll give you two examples. In the world of business now, there are more women than men working. That's what the ratio is now. But it doesn't matter. A man can extend first, or a woman can extend first. It doesn't matter. The only time is if there's someone maybe in their 80s, you know, a man might wait for the woman then. But no, now it's very acceptable for either to extend. Let me just say something else too. If someone is elderly, an elderly man or an elderly woman, and you can tell just by looking at them that maybe they have arthritis, or they're, you can just tell that their hands would hurt. What you might want to do, instead of extending your right hand, is you might want to extend their left hand to them instead. Because no matter what you do,
I already forgot.
because if he would extend his right hand to me, then I would come back. You will not hurt. That is not as powerful as me coming to him with my right hand. And for a woman, a woman usually will shake harder than a man, because we want to show that we're powerful, we're there, whatever. But if I come with my left hand to an elderly person, this is not as powerful I'll ever be, because I'm right-handed. So just always go towards them. Or if your aunt, your grandmother, somebody, thank you, if your aunt or your grandmother, somebody is elderly, tell them to start shaking with their left hand. It's just a little bit easier on them than someone crumpling their hand that already hurts. So to answer your question, no. Either a woman or a man can extend their hand first. But in her case, where she asked about another culture, be very careful, because I always have to remember that when I travel, that you don't know. And so I just keep my hands at the side. So in that case, I do wait for the man if he's going to extend his hand to me. And then I'm honored when they do, and I'll shake it in that case. Any other questions? Because this is your first impression sometimes, and it's very, very important. Now, this is introductions. There's a lot more to it, but this is what I want you to remember. It's how. H-O-W. And again, there's a lot more that goes to it, but this is what I want you to remember. In a situation where you're introducing and there's rank involved, you always want to introduce the higher ranking person first. So it would be Mr. President, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Vice President. So you always say the higher ranking person first. So it's like a president to a vice president, or a vice president to a manager, or whatever it may be, whatever they are. And if someone is introduced to you by like a doctor, but immediately she said to me, my name is Peggy, so she made it easier for me. So I knew that I would refer to her by that name. But if she's being introduced to you, I'm sure it's going to be doctor, so you would go back and say doctor. Or if someone's introduced by Mr., then you would come back and say Mr. or Mrs. or Miss. However they introduced is the way that you will call them until they give you permission to call them something else. Especially in another culture. They are very protocol-driven, hierarchy-driven with titles. And so you need to remember that. Another, Avery.
What order do you do it if they're in equal rank?
Equal rank, the next one is by equal rank, then you go by age. Okay? So if they're equal rank, and then it would be by age. But don't say, excuse me, how old are you? How old are you? Just guess, and you're much safer that way. So if they're both on the equal rank, say they're both vice presidents, then you would take, either by age or how long they've been at the company, if you would know that. So if someone's been there 20 years and someone just joined, then you're going to give the person that's been there the longest. And you usually know that pretty much in a company. The second, if there's no rank involved, then it's older to younger. Grandmother, I'd like for you to meet my friend Joseph. So it's, that's pretty easy that way. And again, if there's no rank involved, then it's a woman to a man. So Susie, I'd like for you to meet Bobby or Sam or Joey or whatever it may be. And so those are the three. Those are the basic things that you need to remember. Again, other things will outrule it if there's, like a governor or a mayor or a political person or a religious person. All that kind of outranks everything else. But those are the important three. Now, making the introduction. More formal is may I introduce or may I present. May I present would be if you're going to introduce George Bush, which could happen in this city. So may I present, may I introduce, so the more formal. Informal, higher ranking still first, but no rank is I like to introduce to you, I like to introduce, or this is. So and they're there in your notes. I figured that would be the easiest. And then, starter, the role with the company, where they live, something of shared interest. Remember when I did the Avery and the Garrett? Make sure you include things like, I'm not ditching them again, but just make sure you include things like that so they have something to talk about. So always do that. Avoid things like, oh, this is my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful girlfriend, or this is my hunk of a boyfriend. Maybe they don't think so. So just stick to this is my partner, or this is my boyfriend, or this is my girlfriend, or this is, don't go. And if you're introducing two friends, don't say, oh my gosh, this is my best friend, and this is my friend. Not so nice. So just stick to, I'm introducing, your friends. These are my friends, period, the end. Okay, and then pointing, you don't want to point. Just say these are, because people will point to them. And don't look away. These are just some tips I put on there for you to, you don't have to go back and forth. So all that's there for you, because I want to keep on going to get to the dining part. And you just said about forgetting names. I remember our meeting, but just cannot recall your name. I'm so sorry, but please tell me your name again. I'm having trouble recalling your name. Don't say, I forgot your name. What's your name? Or I can't remember your name. I mean, there's so many things that you don't, but I gave you all those there. And then the pronunciation. It's beautiful, but I'm not saying it right, or please help me. Don't ever say, that's strange, or that's a weird name, or what was your, what was your parents thinking, or that's, it's really foreign, or don't go there. Those are so bad. And I've heard them all. I really have heard them all. And then, good to see you. This is another thing I really, really highly recommend. If you think, and I think it's good, instead of saying, well, it's good to meet you. Well, I've met you like 6 times already. It's good to see you. Stick with that. It's good to see you. Because then this person's thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I've met them how many times? Why they keep saying it's good to meet you? It's good to see you. It's just a nice thing to say. So just remember that. And then your meeting and interview etiquette, which we've talked about a little bit of this, arrive 5 to 10 minutes early. You don't want to show up like a half hour early and be sitting in the lobby waiting for them, because it looks like you have nothing else to do. You're like dying to get this job. But be on time, 5 to 10 minutes. Don't be sitting in the lobby on your cell phone, checking your messages. Sit there. Bring some material. You can be going over your notes, but not checking your messages, because then they come out and you're looking at your messages, checking all that. So always have your right hand free, so when they come out to meet you, you stand up and you can shake your hand right away. And again, have everything nicely in your portfolio ready to go. Come very prepared with everything. No table shakes. What I mean by that, when you walk into their office and say that they're behind their desk, if they didn't come and meet you at the lobby, if they're behind their desk, don't come in and shake over that desk. That's what a table shake is. I don't mean jump up on the table and shake. I don't mean that. Maybe a good way to start your interview. I don't know. But don't do that. What you want to do, if they don't come out of their chair, and shame on them for not doing that, walk to the end of their table and shake their hand here. Don't invade their space, but come to the end of their desk and shake their hand here. Don't shake it across the table. And then use their name. Hello, Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so, whatever their name is. Oh, no, please call me Sarah, or call me whatever their name is. And then they've just given you permission. Well, thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure to meet you. And then if there's a place to sit, say these 2 chairs are here, and they say, well, have a seat. If they don't specifically point, do you say, do you mind if I sit here? And I say, oh, no, take a seat. You want to sit directly across from that person that's interviewing you. You want to have the direct eye contact. If you sit over here, they have to turn at an angle. Again, it's been proven. You want the direct eye contact. It gives you better results. But the reason why you ask is because maybe their supervisor's coming in. This is that person's seat, and you just plopped yourself in it. So now you got to strike against you when that person comes in. So you want to ask, and they'll tell you which seat to be in. Little details. Yes, sir?
What if the room is really small and it's kind of hard to maneuver?
that's your only choice to sit? Is that what you mean? Then you're going to have to. I've walked into situations like that. You don't want to come in with like a bag lady. You don't want to do that. You want to, ladies, you have one bag, not a purse and a briefcase. You don't want to come in, you know, like walking with all these things. You want one bag. If you have a larger, like a bag, like your briefcase, then you put a small purse inside of that, or a small wallet, or whatever. Do not come in with two things like over your shoulders ready to go. And so you want to have one bag. And when you come in, it sits down. So, I mean, this would be like if this was a wall behind me. This would be very tight quarters. So if you have two, you have no place to put them. So you come in and you sit down, if this is your seat, and there's a chair right here. This is tight. This is tight to get in. So now you've got these two bags, and you have no place to put them. If there is a man or a woman sitting here, you just wipe this person out, okay? So you're moving. So you want to have that one bag, and it's down here. Out of that bag, you pull out a portfolio that you're going to have extra resumes in, and everything sits here. You don't now make this your office. You don't like spread out all these things here. Everything is here. But when they ask for resumes, you open up that nice little portfolio and you present your resumes to all them. So you have to work with whatever you have. Just watch, you know, like legs on the table. So now you don't stand up. You had this great resume. Now you trip to get out and you're like falling. They'll remember you. They will remember you. And then always push your chair in. You're now trying to push this chair in. It's hard. Use your knee. And it's amazing how a knee can push a chair in, especially in a restaurant. It just goes in nicely. So, yes, sir.
What if you're working and your supervisor tells you to call them by the first name, but then the president of the company comes by?
Mr. or Mrs. or Miss, whatever their name is. Let them give you permission. Let them tell you. I'm very formal on things like that, especially if they're a lot older than you. You know, if they're the same age, that might be a little different. But, you know, now, I mean, in my case, everybody's younger than me. But, you know, I still honor that. You know, I figure if they've got that position, then they deserve to have their name called. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, going back to dress and attire, if you have on a scarf and it's extremely hot in the room, is it okay for you to take the scarf off and maybe place it over your knee?
I would take it off before you go in. Okay, or if you're like taking off a jacket, I would do it all at the same. She asked if she had a scarf when she goes in and it's extremely hot in there. Do your undressing before you sit down, because then it looks like you're nervous and you're sweating. So when you come in, like if you were going to take your jacket off, as you're taking your jacket off, I would take the scarf off all at the same time and place it on your knee or place it like right beside you. But you don't know who's going to come in, so I would place everything right here. Or if you did have your briefcase, I'd set it right on top of the briefcase. So it's all in your little, think of a plane. This is your area in a plane. This is your overhead area. So this is like your space. This is somebody else's space. Like, you know, in the lobby in an airplane or an airport, makes me crazy that someone sits here, they put their lunch here, they put their briefcase here, and then they put their feet over here. This is your space. Just remember that. This is everybody else's space. Because then I will come and sit and say, is anybody sitting here? And I make you move. And then I'll sit there for a while, and I go to some other place. Is anybody sitting there? And then they move their lunch, and they look at me, and I go, no. And then I sit there for a while, and then I go some other place. Is anybody sitting here? And I do this in the airport. I'm telling you, I got too much time. You know, I got too much time in airports. So, but it's little things like that, and so it makes a difference. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm watching him wave to me. I'm thinking he's telling me my time's up. He's motioning to you. I'm sorry. Okay.
If you're in a interview with a committee, instead, if it's one-on-one, sit across from them. If you've got 6 people that's interviewing you,
Go for the center. Go for the center. And yeah, and they'll usually, when you come in, she asks if it's a committee and there's like 6 of them, then go for like dead center. So you can be in an equal distance from everybody, which is the best. So if, say these people right here, then I'm going to come basically, because generally the main person will sit in the center, and so I want to come where that main person is, because you don't want to come off to the one edge. So you want to go to dead center. You want to sit in dead center. But usually when someone comes in, someone's in charge of it, and they'll usually point to a seat. And so you just kind of like, you know, you're obedient, and you'll just sit down where they tell you to sit down. But when they don't, then you say, do you mind if I take this seat? You want the best advantage you can, and that's usually in the center or across from that main purpose. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this addresses the no table shakes.
Uh-huh.
So in this picture right here, it looks like there's 2 men, and you said go on the side of the table.
Right.
You have to go to both sides, or even if you were interviewing with the committee, like you couldn't go over the table for each person, because I feel like
There's a good point. These are both bad pictures, was my whole point up there. Those are bad. This guy right here should have walked to the edge of the table to meet, okay, this one, let me go up here so I can show you exactly what I'm saying. Well, I'll use this table. Say that I walk in, and there's a gentleman here and a woman here, okay? I would probably walk to this side and introduce myself to the woman first, and shake her hand, and then probably walk behind her and meet the man. But if I walk in the door this way, because it makes a difference now in social etiquette and business etiquette, there's no gender difference. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. There's no gender difference anymore. It's not like the woman has to be before the man. It doesn't matter anymore. So if I'm walking in here, I would come here and meet the man, and I would probably walk behind him and meet the woman. And then I would come back. It's like a table shake. It's like I'm getting an electric shock if I do a table shake. I just don't want to do that. Then I'd have to come over here and do it. There's exceptions to everything. And he said, what if I can't walk behind? I have no choice. I'm going to have to come over here because there's a wall here, so I can't. So I'm going to try to meet him, and then I'll come back around. If she could, then she'd come around and maybe meet me. So there's exceptions to everything. Don't get hung up. Don't let that ruin the whole rest of your interview, because don't let that throw you off. Just do the best that you can and just do it that way, and you'll be good. Okay. Now, meeting tips, obviously we've talked about this. Turn off your phones, everything. Check their website. No big chit chat. Gum. I'm not seeing anybody chew gum in here, but I'm amazed that people will come into an office with gum in their mouth. So just get rid of that. Swallow it if you have to before you get in there. There should not be any gum in sight anywhere. And are you telling me we're done? Oh, okay. Invitations and gifts. If you're invited to someone's home, if this new boss invites you, then never go empty-handed. If you're invited to their home, bring a little gift. Doesn't have to be expensive. It could be even under $5, but come with something in hand. People say, well, can I bring a bottle of wine? Yes, but make sure they drink wine. Maybe they have a religious preference. They don't want to drink wine, so again, that's not such a good idea. Just bring something for the home or something tiny. It could be a candle. Again, it could be literally under $5, but just make sure you put your name on a card. Be at the front door to greet people, and if there's a co-host, make sure you're introducing yourself. If there's place cards, if you come in and your name's here and somebody else is there and somebody else is over there, but you really want to sit over there, you cannot pick up this place card and move your name. So don't do that. Leave that place card where it is. They worked hard on making that table. There's a reason for all that. And so just leave it exactly where it is, and you'll be fine. Make sure you've done the introductions. Remember our seating there. You walk around. Make sure everybody's introduced at that table. Arrive early. Now, if you invite, you pay. Remember that. Ladies, this goes more for you at this moment. If you invite, say, you invite these 3 men, she invites these 4 men right here. Say she invites these 4 men. What she wants to do before she gets to that restaurant is call that restaurant, and hopefully she knows the restaurant. If she doesn't, it doesn't make a difference because I do this all over the place. Call the restaurant and say, I'm coming to lunch. I have my reservations, because you don't want to go someplace where you have to wait 45 minutes to get in. I'm coming. I'm bringing these 4 gentlemen. Do not bring me the bill at the end. I will, take care of everything. I will get rid of the 4 gentlemen. They will leave. I will come back and pay the bill. So when they say, all we have to do is handle the bill, she'll say, it's already been taken care of. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully you had a good time, and I'll be dealing with you again, or whatever she wants to say. She walks them to the door, and she comes back, and she pays the bill. So much more professional instead of sitting there thinking, okay, 15, 18%, and then she's trying to, add the tip. She just lost all credibility by doing that at the very end. Handle it. Or if she knows the restaurant well, she can give them the credit card, and then, they can leave, and then they come back. She already adds the tip, and she's ready to go. It looks more professional. It's just a professional, and I love it when they say, well, all you have to do is handle the bill. And I say, it's done. Thank you so much for coming today. I hope you enjoyed it, or I hope I'm working with you again, or whatever I say, and it's done. And I come back and I handle it. And if they didn't have any dessert, I come back, I have my dessert by myself, and they're gone. So just a nice way to do it. Oops. Now, business cards. Do you all have business cards? You all should have business cards, okay? I just want to show you very quickly. All should have business cards. You should say you're a student wherever you are. You should say you're a STEM scholar. You should have something on that business card. You can go online and do them. What I want you to remember, it's an Asian tradition, but it's very accepted here. I want you, whenever you give your business card, to stand up and present with 2 hands to that person. And the most important thing is that your name faces that person. Be very, very conscious of that. Do not just give your card sideways or backwards, that your name is facing yourself. You know your own name. Give it to that person. More importantly, if I say, would you like my business card? And she says yes, and I throw it across the table. That happens all the time. Please present it. In those other cultures where they do not use their left hand because it's used for hygiene and other things, then you present with your right hand only. Again, in other cultures, don't write on their card because it's very disrespectful to them. So if you want to have lunch tomorrow, sure, then you just write what time you're going to have lunch with them. Don't do that. Gentlemen, where do you keep your business cards? Perfect, perfect, perfect. I thought you were going to mess me up there, Michael. Anybody else? Okay, what I want you to remember is, gentlemen, never put them in your wallet, okay? In your wallet. Then you put them in your back pocket. Now you're sitting on it, okay? And I say, may I have your business card? You grab it from back there. It might be cute, but I don't want it. You put it back there. You pull it out from back there. Love that. And so just again, understand the cultures, understand the different people around you. Take advantage of this phenomenal opportunity that you have. The greetings, which we talked about, meetings are so different. When I go to other parts of the world, I always have a mentor because they have to tell me what their meetings are like. I used to think that they were the same as in the United States. They are not even close. So you have to understand, especially for a woman, it's a lot different in other cultures. Not that they're not respectful and they don't admire them, but it's just a little different, so you have to remember that. Business cards are different. How the dress is different. In some cultures, I would have to wear what I have on. I would have to cover my shoulders, maybe even cover my elbows, maybe cover my knees. Maybe I wouldn't wear a low top. It's just very respectful for what you want to do. Watch gestures. You know, different things mean different things. You know, in other cultures, that could be very, very, very bad. And so just be careful what you're going to say or do. Slang, reckon and fixin', doesn't translate so well in some cultures. And so they have no idea what you're fixing to do or reckon you're going to do. So, and gifts are very important. A lot of them will not open them in front of you. You know, white means something different. Black means something. Numbers mean different things. So again, you just need to know all that when you go to different cultures or they come here. Tipping, I'm not going to get into this. It's all in your book. You get a whole chapter on that. I want to jump into the dining part. And so we're going to switch it up here very fast. And this is all on there for you. There's 2 slides on that. I'll show you where everything is. Table, when he does all this, the table, this is your basic table setting here. What you want to remember is that your forks are going to be on the left. What you want to remember that is fork has 4 letters. So if you have to set the table, a fork has 4 letters, so does the word fork, and so does left. So remember that. A knife and spoon both have 5 letters, so they'll be set on the right. So now when you come into a restaurant, you know what, I could, to save you all of this, I could just, can you all see this up here? So he doesn't have to worry about all that? Okay, if you just want to come back to my PowerPoint, that'll work. Sorry about that. Okay, if you come into a restaurant, you'll never get this much silverware rolled in a napkin. If you come into a restaurant and this napkin is sitting in the middle of your plate, like so, how do you get this napkin on your lap and get the silverware out of it? What are you going to do with this napkin? Okay, I do not want you to go like that, okay? And then I don't want you to take the napkin and like shake it out over here and then open it up and tuck it in here. I would really hurt you. I really would, okay? Anybody want to tell me where the napkin would go? Thank you. The napkin with the rolled silverware is going to go on your lap. Everything is going on your lap. So you're going to take the rolled silverware with the napkin, and it's going on your lap. You're going to unroll it on your, well, it wouldn't be rolled this way. So you're going to unroll it on your lap, and then you're going to take it out. The knife is going on which side? The right. The right. It's going to go closest to your plate with the blade facing in. You always want the blade to face in because a long, long time ago when there was lots of kings, if they ever turned the blade out, that meant that night you would be killed. Seriously. Because that meant that they were going to sever the relationship with you. Sever. And so if you don't like that person beside you, then turn that blade out, okay? And you're done. So always face that blade in. So it comes closest to the plate, blade facing in. Sometimes you're going to have 2 knives. If you have 2 knives, blade facing in, if you have 2 knives next to it, the one on the outside is your salad knife, the one on the inside maybe a bigger knife, and that's going to be your entree knife or your steak knife or whatever it is. Always work your way in. Start on the outside and work your way in, okay? Now, if the spoon is the next thing coming in, then the spoons are going to go on the outside of the knife. On the far side would be the biggest, which would be your soup spoon, and then a teaspoon. The reason why your soup spoon's on the outside, because you would eat the soup before you would drink your coffee. So soup, and then teaspoon. On the left side, you could have 2 forks, because 4 letters. On the far side is going to be your salad fork, and closest to the plate is your entree. In the United States, we eat our salad, and then we eat our entree. Other countries, they do it in reverse. They'll eat the entree, then they eat the salad after. We actually should do that because the salad cleans your body, so we should actually eat it reverse, but we don't. But that's okay. So in the meantime, we're in the United States, so it's your salad, then your entree. So they go on the left-hand side. Now, you have a dessert spoon and fork. They go, does anybody know where they go? On the top. Which one's on the bottom? The fork. Which way are the blades going? To the right? Okay. And the spoon goes which way? To the left. Exactly. Very few people say that, to tell you the truth. What you want to remember is you started on the left with your fork, you started on the right with your spoon. Start here and work your way up. A fork generally weighs more than the spoon, so it's always on the bottom to carry the weight. That's how I remember it. So it's there. Now, when the time is for your dessert, don't just grab one and start using it to eat. Don't do that. Don't do that. If the waitstaff, if it's a nice dining, they'll come and they'll put them into place. But before you start to eat, they removed your entree plate. Move these into position. If they're both there, they're telling you you have the option to use one and maybe scoop with the other one, or just use one and the other one will sit there. And then when you're done eating, they both are placed on your plate when you're done. Even if you only used one, they still go there. Okay? That's kind of a quick version, but there you go. Styles of eating. As I said earlier, if you're right-handed, you will, American style, crazy way to eat, crazy way to eat. You cut after 1 or 3 bites. 1 is formal, 3 is informal. You place the knife, blade facing it across the top, you switch hands and you eat. Too many steps, way too many steps. Continental, you hands above the table, you cut, you eat. You cut, you eat. It looks nicer. Now, if you do like me, you talk with your hands. This is a very dangerous way to eat. So, you got to rest. Put your knife and fork down to rest. It's an inverted V. Okay? And then when you're done, no matter if it's American or continental, everything goes to the right and at 4 o'clock. Think of it as a clock. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything is resting 4 o'clock. You have a couple choices. Either the fork up, the fork down, the tines down, or really cool, take the knife, put it inside the fork, like so, and it tells you that you're done. And then the waitstaff knows to take it away. And that's just kind of a neat way to do it. And then you're all set, ready to go. Now, pretty much everything I told you, the napkin. Now, this is a large napkin. You don't have to take this whole napkin, other than tucking it up here. You don't have to take this whole napkin and cover your body. You don't need that much protection. Okay, you can put it in a triangle with a large part across your waist. That's number 1. Or you can take it in a rectangle and put it again across your waist with a fold at the bottom. It's just a napkin. You just bring it up and you blot. It's not to cover your whole face. It's not to blow your nose. It's not for anything else. It's just to blot. That's all it's for. Now, if you sneeze or cough or whatever at the table, then go, into your sleeve here. If it's like something like came from who knows where, then do this right away. But don't keep doing this. Then excuse yourself and go to the restroom. This is not a tissue. Don't be doing that in there. If you get up to leave in the middle of the meal, then where does this go? Where does your napkin go? You have a couple options. Number 1 is you just take it, don't fold it, and set it here in your chair. Push your chair in so people can get by. Use your knee. If not, then some people will put it, or a waitstaff will put it on the back of the chair there. They will fold it and put it there. When you come back, do not sit down, turn around, grab it, wipe out this person, then put it on your nap. No. Take it 1 step. Take it as you're coming around. Take it, that it folds at the bottom, and sit down, and then pull your chair in. That's it. You're there. Nice and easy. And then you're ready to go. At the very end of the meal, if you're done with the meal, and everybody else is still eating, and the speaker's still there, this is on your lap. Not until you're ready to get up and walk out the door. then you take your napkin, again, don't fold it, and just place it on the left of your dessert. If all the plates are gone, then it can go in the middle. Never, listen to what I'm saying, never, if this is a cloth or a paper napkin, take it and wad it up and throw it in the middle of your plate. Poof, I will appear again, and I will take it and undo it and put it on this side. I don't care what they are. It's not going to go in your plate, ever, 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 okay? Now, the pickup. What the pickup is, once you pick up anything off the table, it never touches the table again. This is touching the table again, like so. That means the ants can crawl up and jump into your food. Keep it off the table, that it rests on your plate. So don't rest things on the table. They stay on your plate while you're eating. Got it? That's a big, big no-no. Follow your hostess and when to start. When everybody at your table has been, their meals have been placed down, then you can start. If someone's a vegetarian or they have a religious, reason why they're not eating what everybody else is, then you can say to them, do you mind if we start? Or hopefully they will tell you to go ahead and start, one or the other. Now, what to wear if you're going for your interview, which we've discussed that. Be on time. It's been, all these different things have gone out. Number 2 on a job interview is being late for the interview, where you will lose out. That's number 2. You'll get what number 1 is in a minute. What to order when you go on an interview for your job, something familiar with the restaurant. You should always check the menu before you go to that restaurant. If they say, I'm going to meet you at whatever, check the menu before you go there. So you'll have a mind, something in your mind, what you like, what you might do. And then ask their favorite dish. If they're, person's going to interview you, say, well, what do you like here? So you'll know, they'll say, well, the salmon's good. So that's probably what they're going to order. So then you'll know what you're going to order. If they say, well, the salad's really good, okay, then shift. You're going to order a salad now. Or if they say, oh, the chicken's good. You don't have to order chicken, you don't have to order salmon, but at least you know they're going to order a meal, or they're going to order a salad, or they're going to, you don't want to order a 6-course meal and they're going to get, soup and salad. So you want to stay consistent with what they're ordering. And then, get something that's healthy or small. So that's the second part. You're going there for an interview. The food is secondary. But, you want to eat something. But just remember that you're not going for the food. And then something that's reasonably priced. And then, thank you, reasonably priced. And then, dessert or not. If they say, would you like dessert? You say, well, would you like some dessert? And if they say no, then no dessert. Okay? Things are to avoid, which you can see all that. And then if they say they would like to do a prayer, then obviously you will do a prayer with them. And then who pays? They invite, then they will pay. And then I've showed you this. Dropping, double dipping, salt and pepper are married, so make sure they're passed together. And the rest of them pretty much same. If anybody has any questions, I know they want to finish because people have to move on. I just want to finish here at the end. Don't stack your dishes. Please don't do that during an interview. And lipstick, ladies, are you allowed to do that? Can you put lipstick on during your interview or any meal? No. No, don't be sitting here, go down, come up, and all of a sudden you got lipstick on and full makeup. Do not be doing that. And with that, I want to end with one thing. So we're going to do a little toast. I'll get to the end. If anybody has any questions on this, again, you can email me. Just raise a glass. I want to pretend. I want to thank you all for going through this. I want to wish you the very, very, very best of luck. To all of you in the STEM program, good luck. And thank you very, very much. Thank you, sir.